Good evening, Wizards, and welcome to episode 8 of Wizard Wednesdays. Now, hope everyone's having a good week so far. As per, again, the trades have been flying left, right, centre. And just to quickly touch upon, we had our first losing trade of the month. We have brushed that off after an incredible month of pretty much 100% hit rate. So it's been an absolutely phenomenal month in terms of trading, and again, just want to express a complete and insane amount of gratitude to every single one of you who has been joining the Telegram, showing love and support, sending me profits. All of these little things make a huge difference in my eyes, and it just shows that the brand and community is getting so strong now that I cannot wait to see where we will be if we have managed to get this far, guys, in just a matter of 2 months, pretty much, maybe 3 months now. I think it's been 3 months maybe. Imagine where we will be as a community and as a collective in a matter of a year's time, especially once the Wizard platform and everything is unleashed. You guys are truly going to see a revolutionary and revolutionized concepts to the cryptocurrency education sector. So goes without saying, why are we doing this Wizard Wednesdays today? What are we covering, and what is the overall agenda? So the agenda for the Wizard Wednesdays is we are keeping it nice and simple. I am deterring away from doing the overkill effort, I guess you could say, to cover every single altcoin possible when they're all moving in synchronization realistically anyway. So that's why I thought I'd kickstart it with CoinMarketCap. Again, BTC dominance, massive giveaway. We've had some situations with BitMEX as well, which is why I'll be covering more of the Bitfinex side to actually kind of reinstigate why it's now more important to be following Bitfinex again, as I learned that myself a very hard way. Now, what is the main topic here? We'll be covering BTC, XRP, Ether, Litecoin, and a topic of discussion that was just very quickly brought up to me on Twitter is entries, trades, example. You guys want to see live trades. Now, I've shown them in the prior video and I've shown them many times over, but why not actually cover these a little bit more in depth today? I'll show you some of my live running trades. You can see the profits, the losses, whatever's currently running. I think I'm currently in a good bit of profit and hoping to make that a very substantial amount whilst the trade's done. So as you've probably seen throughout the past 2 weeks, it's been a pretty much consistent $10,000-$20,000 week for 2 weeks in a row now. So it's been very nice. It's been very good to see the calls have been coming through across a multitude of different financial markets as well. So going into crypto, CoinMarketCap straight away, we have a nice day. So far, everything's approximately around 1% up, minus Dash and Cosmos. I don't even know what that is, to be honest with you. Guys, this is a very important thing to state as well. I actually do not know the majority of these coins because I do not bother. Now, I know there are some good ones. I actually believe Maker's quite a good one. There are a few that are lurking. We've got some old school ones like Neo, BAT, of course. I love BAT. I'm using the Brave browser. That's exactly what I meant. I'm using the Brave browser right now. And again, for me, this is actually one topic that I'll cover just for the sake of it. It's, what about this new project? Have you heard of this project? Have you heard of that project? For me personally, I do not want to be investing too much into these new crypto projects until we start seeing the old school ones failing or crumbling and we see a sufficient replacement with the new technology. Very simple stuff. People always ask me, what do you think of this? What about this? But this new one's come out. The technology's crazy. Look, they're trying to challenge Ethereum. They're trying to take over EOS. They're going to be the next BNB. I do not care, personally, because they are new. Why would I go for an even more considerable risk than the crypto market already offers to try and bet, which it is 100% a bet, on a brand new company or projects that's just launched versus what is already long-standing within the top 10. And even then, I do not use market's capitalization as a reason to invest in coins. As we've seen, there are many projects I do not believe in that are in the top 50, and many of these coins do not hold much value, but they're still here by market capitalization. It's not hard to have a high market cap. When people tell me stuff like, oh my god, this project's just hit 20th or 15th or 16th or 17th, wherever it's hit in the coin market capitalization, that is meaningless, because anybody can just circulate hundreds of millions or whatever they're going to circulate into the supply and the market and then easily just boost your market cap. It's not hard to do. So again, pushing that aside, there is no reason to be focusing on new projects when you have so many long-standing ones here. Now, I will not pick specific ones as I do not want to try and shill or pump the market in any manner whatsoever, but just use a bit of guess you could say, general knowledge and common sense, and just kind of look at what has been long standing. And a very good way to actually do this, I believe there is a tool here, I think it's called historical. Let's try and find that. I believe there is a way to do this on CoinMarketCap. You can actually view historical dates to see when the prices and when these coins are actually originally on the market. If not, let's just do a quick CoinMarketCap check. I think it's, let's just say CoinMarketCap 2014. There we go. I've actually searched this before. Historical snapshot. So we have a historical feature here. You can actually see this quite clearly. Look at what was actually long standing and look at what's been here since the very beginning. Having a look at all these coins, guys, this really puts it into perspective that a lot of these coins became new versus the longest standing like Bitcoin, Litecoin, XRP. Doge, of course, still lingering there, the good old doggy coin. We have a few coins that are still lingering about, but overall, actually have a look at this and take this into consideration and let this absorb into your skulls on what can actually commence and what can unfold in just a matter of years' time. Everybody who was buying these coins in 2014 believed they were going to be the next best thing because of their market capitalization. In reality, the top three have remained. The rest have slowly drifted off, pretty much besides Doge. Peercoin, I think that's still lingering somewhere. But overall, as you can see, look at all these coins that just became a distant memory very, very fast. So I think this is a big wake-up call as well for many people to not focus on these new projects and try to make a quick flip, because if you're going to make a quick flip, your best bet is actually to stick to what's already historically proven it can succeed and sustain the market for the longest standing. So although I'm not the biggest fan of actually buying and holding Bitcoin, because I just personally think it's too expensive. I know it technically is the longest standing, the warrior, the king, the throne holder, whatever people like to call it, and BTC maximalists like to refer to it as. I personally believe that it's just very expensive for the average person to be trying to make a significant amount of profit. Now, you look at how much this market can physically grow every single day, and then imagine how much it's grown and compounded on a consistent yearly basis. So for me, as the average person and the retail trader, looking at Bitcoin's price right now, guys, we're looking at $5,600 a single coin. Now, when you consider that the market is moving in synchronization anyway, and if Bitcoin jumps a certain amount of percent, it's very likely that altcoins with a little less value per token are going to actually see a much more significant return on investment in terms of percentage versus Bitcoin. That's why the key number that always sticks in my head was XRP in 2017, because it wasn't just the low price, but when you combined that with the fundamentals and the technicals, we could very clearly see that there was going to be a large profit. And I believe XRP was on top of one of the biggest gainers of 2017. Off the top of my head, it was around 40,000% return on investment from the beginning, whereas I don't think Bitcoin was even half that figure, to the best of my knowledge. I don't really remember off the top of my head, but again, just using that as a good theory that just focus on what's here, but do not focus on something that's brand new and pops up. Why would I physically invest, for example, in a platform or a project that's aiming to tackle the payment sector when you have the likes of Stellar and XRP already very far deep into that sector with a significant amount of projects, a significant amount of partnerships, technological advancements? There are so many reasons to stick to what's already proven itself long-standing. So just thought I'd kick it off on that note and just give you guys a bit of a wake-up call, because it seems to be this reoccurring theme now that the market might be pumping again. The golden cross and all that other malarkey is driving people to the brink of insanity once again, and of course euphoria seems to be at a pretty solid high. So let's just take into consideration, why am I now focusing on Bitcoin again via Bitfinex? And that's because the BTC dominance is just literally lingering at a very high value. I'm seeing the manipulation on BitMEX exceeding expectations a little bit more, and it seems even after the whole Tether scenario, the staple has seemed to have gone back to BTC. So that is the main focus for me right now. Let's have a little look at Yahoo as well to compare the difference in market cap. 71 billion, 95 billion, 23 billion. As you can see, only 12 billion. And of course, Ether is 13 billion. So again, using Yahoo to actually refer to the market caps, always a very good and accurate way to do it, as it's completely unbiased and it's giving you a more realistic expectation. So I actually covered this last year. I tried to expose CoinMarketCap for their market cap measurement methods, as it was very biased towards BTC. So, of course, the goal and the overall agenda is the majority of these institutions, corporations, crypto companies, they all have a significant, I guess you could say, agenda towards BTC. So they will do a lot in their power to actually stop anything overtaking BTC until the market eventually does it on its own natural course. So a good example, I've mentioned this before, CoinMarketCap, when XRP began blowing up and overtaking Ethereum, CoinMarketCap very conveniently removed the Asian exchange volumes to significantly drop XRP's value, and it did have a very significant effect. And I do believe that could have actually been a catalyst for XRP to unfold with the flippening and overtake. So very interesting stuff, very suspicious, but it's so convenient to use CoinMarketCap purely because you have the percentages there, you have the BTC dominance, and it provides a very nice rounded and easy to view platform. So let's just go straight to the charts for now and what is going on. So the main purpose of this video and Wizard Wednesdays is to educate you guys a bit more on entries, manipulation again, and just being a bit more cautious and managing trades. So let's start off with the golden boy Bitcoin. What's going on with this right now? First of all, Fibonacci targets. You can never go wrong with a cheeky Fibonacci. So having a look at this Fibonacci, we have the extended trend line. Let me just get the 4 hour up. 1, 2, 3 over there. The reason I am drawing this trend line here and the reason why I am anticipating a sharp downside spike is because yet again we've seen a potential move. We've broken above, we've pulled down, we've broken above, we've pulled down, we've broken above, and we've formed a double top at this region. So the double top for me doesn't necessarily mean anything in cryptocurrency, as you can see it happens here and there and then blows through anyway. But what's really sinking into my mind right now is the possibility that this trend line here, it's been a pretty tough ride to actually get to this $6,000 and 5,800 region, the region I've been targeting since the breakout candle occurred here at the very beginning of April. Now, if you look at these Fibonacci targets, first of all, this is really overall aiding my bias towards that final downside meltdown and a push up higher, because I do believe when we actually pushed down here, we didn't fulfill the full movement, and I think one more trap could be occurring. Similar to here, where although it was much smaller, we saw a quick pullback back down to these levels and then pinged all the way back up. So looking at these Fibonacci targets, we now have an exact Fibonacci retracement from here to here to the extensions aligning with 5,800, our first target, and the second target exactly at $6,000 as well. So the Fibonacci targets now align perfectly with the psychological levels of resistance I've been covering for almost a month now, and actually over an entire month. So just using a simple Fibonacci on a daily, when you're looking at the 4 hour, etc., and you just think about how many people are now trying to just ride this long wave after bullish momentum, the best way for me to actually catch entries and stuff is just look at the bullish momentum. Every time you see a bullish rally, you have to expect a significant pullback of some sorts, especially in the cryptocurrency sector, because it's very simple human psychology in crypto, where when the market begins to surge, it pulls back and breaks higher. It normally has that vibe, and it gives off the essence to the, I'm not going to say amateur trader, as I can still be very easily wiped out on such a trade. That is quite an egotistical thing to say, but the average human being or the average trader will be getting quite excited when they're seeing a rally, and then FOMO kicks in, and the first thing crossing your mind after a pullback like this or even a rally like this is, I need to buy now because it will just keep going and going and going. But when you just zoom out, I like using the weekly's great as well. Spiked up, rejected, failed to really achieve going through that wick as well. Pulling to the daily, we're holding exactly at this level here. Huge significant pullback and a preempted level. The reason I actually went short is because I preempted in advance around $5,650 could be met as a region for a potential stop hunt. When we spiked precisely to that region and started pulling back, the first thing I done was just get out of that trade. I thought it was, get into the trade because it fulfilled my regions. I pre-anticipated this, it was premeditated, and I decided it was an excellent opportunity for a short. So looking at the daily now, when you look at the daily, you can see a much more rounded picture. I do not need to use anything too significant, but although the moves are not too large, when you're using the daily, you're capturing these swings that the average person is not looking at because they're too fixated on these time frames here, trying to catch crazy moves. And I'm not really for that. I am all about catching intraday trades and monitoring intraday trades, but the overall goal is to hold these. So basically, let me explain this clearer. The intraday analysis that I do consistently in the Telegram or on Twitter is to find and optimize those entries. It's not to be scalping the market, it's actually to be giving you as many possibilities and scenarios to see that if price starts hitting certain levels, or just as we covered earlier in the Telegram, XRP has retested the long-term trend line it recently broke through. Be cautious of a potential short-term rally back up to the highlighted zone of 0.32400. So why have I even covered that if we know we're going to potentially fall lower anyway? Well, the first thing is we have a huge trend line break on the daily. We have now pulled back, taps this level, we tapped it once, broke up higher, we've now pulled down again. This is leading me to believe there is going to be a sharp break to the downside. However, because this is a psychological level, many people are obviously looking at this as well. Many people could be trying to long off a retest of this region. The fact we have seen 2 retests of this region shows me this trend line may not be as valid as we originally thought. Otherwise, it would have catapulted us straight to 0.34. So if you remember the XRP long entry, which we closed out yesterday in the Telegram, good to see this is falling right now as well. Hopefully we can see a nice sharp drop throughout this video as well. So because we covered the original targets in Telegram, I believe it was 0.325 to 0.33, we spiked just below our initial, final target for that rally, closed out my trade after putting a tight stop loss, price sustained in line with my analysis. Now, the way I work in terms of trading is very simple. If price projects itself exactly to where my levels go, that means I'm currently moving in sync with the market. So it increases my probabilities and it helps me to actually continue moving in sync with the trade and the market by taking long and short positions bouncing off each zone. For example, if price now falls exactly down to 29 cents, that's now fulfilled another movement I correctly anticipated. So if it hits that level, I know I'm in sync with the market. So I can slowly increase those odds of the next trade unfolding as well, which is why I heavily believe this false trend line here. If you go to the daily, we have seen a reversal. We tapped the moving average as well. That's the 1 hour, sorry, not the daily. Pulled up, we're now seeing some rejections and also broken through. This was support, broke through support, rejected support, now resistance. This could just slam all the way through. I do not feel this is sufficient, mimicking similar price action as well. Broken through, rejected, spiked, bang. May see another spike up here, but overall, I'm just being cautious, but I do believe we are going to see some sharp downside momentum coming soon. It's just a bit similar to this candle, actually. It was almost a false reversal sign. Now, this will not always happen, but looking at this right now, we could be seeing a very similar movement. Candle, just like this one, tapped exactly above the candle, very similar there, just confirming it may be a level of resistance right now. Boom, candles melted, just to where the prior lows were. Of course, we are looking for a much more significant pullback, but overall, you can see what I'm kind of projecting here, and it could be ideal to be notifying this level. Now, in the worst case scenario, we see a pullback that isn't too sufficient. We could easily be retesting this trend line again at around 31 cents. So there are many reasons why I've entered this trade, and the biggest reason is because the long caught all the way to my target precisely. Now I'm going to try and remain in sync with the market for the pullback. Not just that, 30-minute time frame as well. All of this consolidation here, because of this reversal on this trend line, there could just be a quick catapult back to this level. That's the only thing I'm cautious of, as we have seen it before. However, if you actually look at this breakout here that occurred as well, when price broke through, rejected, pulled up a bit higher, very similar to what could be unfolding here, and then bang, absolutely melted. So just take that into consideration, that I cover all sides of the scenarios, but because I'm already in the trade, many people think, why would you cover the upside if you've just covered the short? And that is where we are going to start discussing entries in a second once I go through to the Hugo's Way platform. So let's go to Ether as well, and LTC, and have a little coverage before giving an overall rounded view on where I think these markets are heading. The first thing that comes into play, huge manipulation and volatility around this trend line, which we can now extend out. We now have a new trend line in play. Excellent. Let me drag that there. Perfect. Now let's look at the daily first of all. So the daily, this doesn't look very valid until you go to the 4 hour. We have the long-term fib, the A, B, C, which we tapped there, and we have our extensions aligning with $200 and of course 223, still projecting these long-term targets. Swing traders, if you're looking to do this, then feel free to capture those swings and ignore these intraday movements. And I'll be showing you in a minute, as I'm trading the Forex market on the side as well, how I actually swing trade and also do the intraday and intraday trades on crypto at the same time as well. I can very easily handle both, and that is what I'm trying to really project to you all and show you it's possible. So 4-hour perspective, here is why I believe we're going to see lows again for Ethereum as well. B, body to body Fibonacci setup, spikes to 61.8, that's why I was hesitant, and then we saw the tap above correlating with the 5,650 tap on BTC. Let's refresh that. That's now also crashed. That's fine. So let's just use Ether for now. So once that loads up in a second at BTC, so as you can see, the tap literally correlated with that as well. And of course, with Ether looking very good. And XRP also saw a bit of volatility, but not necessarily a single tap. The daily for Ether's looking incredible right now as well, looking like it's going to stall. Just being cautious, guys, as always, of these regions. Just always be careful when you see a potential short opportunity to look out for the same level being tapped one more time. It can occur here, as you can see, many times over, even breaching a little bit higher, because they will expect some people to still be going short, just because it may not be obvious to the average person. Even if you've caught it, it's very likely or not the people manipulating the market are very well aware of what you are trying to achieve here. So 4-hour looks great for me right now. Huge rejection, didn't even pull back. Just remain cautious of these usual zones, prior bodies here as well, just taking into consideration. But looking at this Fibonacci alignment, $147. What was the level covered in Telegram? $148. So even a bit lower, in fact, which is nice to see. So overall, we could be seeing even a sharper drop down to $142, which would also correlate with the Fibonacci that has not yet been met on this movement, which actually is looking even better than ever. So let's use Ether as a nice guidance of how we could actually saturate a potentially much larger move from the market before seeing that catalyst reversal to the upside. So again, stop hunts galore. As you can see, it's just been so difficult to really achieve that drive to the upside. So here's what we're going to be identifying now. This looks great. I'll mark that there. I know it looks a bit messy, but I'm hoping you guys can see what I'm trying to achieve here. I believe we could be seeing a sharp breakout here. Tapping these levels anywhere from here to here will dictate once we hopefully get here. Pulling back up, I believe we'll just be rejecting. Once we break out of this line, that will be what it takes to just blow through the roof and towards $200. But in the meantime, looking at these targets now, the correlations just look too good to almost be true. So I am being a bit hesitant because of how good this short opportunity actually does look, but the steepness of this counter trend line as well, it's pretty much broken already. Broken, tapped, let's drop to the 1 hour. Broken, tapped. All you're really expecting now, if I just fix this up a little bit, all you can expect now, again, looking at that rejection and a potential pullback higher, we may just tap this trend line quickly and just roll all the way down. So pay a bit of attention to this as well. We are seeing some interesting movements in the market. Going over to LTC, what is happening with LTC? We tapped that trend line again. Remember the trend line I mentioned from the prior Wizard Wednesdays and prior videos? We have finally tapped this region, causing a nice pullback higher. However, the highs have not been wiped out just yet. So we've made new lower lows. We've now made a new lower high. I believe LTC is going straight down to the $60 region. Again, trying to experiment with these other time frames right now. They're not looking too good for me, to be honest with you. I've tried to use them, but they're just not as clean and sharp as the 4-hour time frames and the 2 hours and the 1 hours. So even the 2 hours not too good, to be honest with you. But using this 1 hour, you get a much more deeper insight into the candle formations, whereas these are simply just too long in terms of waiting for a candle to close. But looking at this now, the 4-hour as well on LTC, we are seeing slowly but surely further attempts to break lower, and I do believe this could just cause maybe a little spike higher again, retesting these prior highs just as we've seen before, or even like this region here, quick tap around here in the worst case scenario. Of course, the absolute worst case scenario is a breakout higher, which would invalidate all trades. So before we continue, we will do a quick coverage of, before we go on to the MT4 platform. And guys, by the way, you're all asking me who do I use. It's Hugo's Way. I do not I'm not affiliated with them. I'm not associated with them. And actually, there may be better brokers out there. I don't know. All I know is no matter what broker you use for crypto right now, you will be paying an extortionate amount in fees. You will not really be finding any discounted or very good platforms. So we really have to deal with those spreads and swaps for the time being. But I do find Hugo's Way great for my own personal reasons. So having a quick roundup, what am I expecting to occur? LTC, I do believe this could fall all the way down to around $60. And let's just see if there's a fib confirming said movement. Not too bad. We have a perfect rejection there. So just be cautious of that as well. If I extend this from wick to wick, let's see where that correlates. Very nice, just below that level as well. So we are seeing some nice movements across the board and a nice Fibonacci setup across all pairs as well. So I do believe LTC could be achieving around $60. I do believe Ether is going to drop to around $147, which could peak around 142 to correlate with a Fibonacci extension and a Fibonacci retracement. XRP, well, this thing's just falling, looking beautiful, more and more beautiful by the day. So hopefully we just see a very sharp downside drop. Was there a fib on this? I think there was, wasn't there? I don't think it was drawn. Let's get the daily up quickly. Yeah. So looking at this right now, we also have 29 cents there, which I'm targeting. But looking at these Fibonacci's right now, what's this? Let's drag this. Interesting. So we actually do have 26 cents and 24 cents as well, which very well could be unfolding in the grand scheme of things if we do see a much sharper drop than expected. Because if you look at these levels and the differences of where they are, Ether currently forming new lower highs now, so it's not looking too promising for the time being. Nice correlations to the downside. Because XRP is already a bit lower than the others and a bit more in line with Ether, this actually does make pretty good sense because this would wipe out the lows to then retest these prior regions here. So XRP very well could, although probably not that low, I do believe 27 to 26 could be a pretty much good peak. In the event that this does happen, then let's just clap our hands and praise the Lord for capturing such a significant short that wasn't actually expected. So still, just focusing on 29 cents for now. If we see that extra push, then let it be. That's magnificent if we can see that, because a lot of money will be made. That's to say the least. Bitcoin, what are we targeting with Bitcoin? Well, 4 hour, that looks great to me. That looks like it's just going to melt, to be honest with you. Again, just being cautious around here, exercising caution, but I think this is going to absolutely die. We have this trend line here, which, again, as I've said before, when people see these trend lines, they do not believe they will ever be rejected again or retested. And history just proves itself that these levels can be met when you least expect it. And with an A, a B, and a C Fibonacci aligning with 5,300, target 1, and target 2, which would correlate pretty nicely with the others actually, how they're moving right now with their downside targets, we could very easily see 5,200 dipping down to that level as well. Moving averages there as well long term, not giving this one away just yet, but for all we know, this could spike down to there as well. So I'm literally being very cautious, and I'm going to move my take profits down even lower now I've actually done this fresh analysis myself. So this 4 hour looks crazy. I am hoping we just see a sharp drop. Just being cautious here. I may actually move my stop losses up for a potential stop hunt, as it will not be very fun. If not, I will show you a method of trade management that is heavily covered in the Telegram as well regarding stop losses. So let's go over to MT4 and see what's happening right now. So we currently have profit of $3,000. Very nice to see. I have a trade running on US 30, which is the Dow Jones. I have 0.10 and 0.10 lots running. The reason being is this pair is so volatile in movement. This can literally, if it goes to my target here, that's $10,000 and another $10,000. So, well, 19,000, 18,000, whatever you want to call it. So looking at this right now, look how precise the upside entry was there. My initial entry was here around this formation here, and it reversed against me. This is swing trading unfolding in real time. This is what I mean by I swing trade. I can scalp, I can intraday, and I can intraday as well. Medium, short, long term. You have to diversify your assets and your skill set as a trader to be able to leverage and capture these incredible moves in the market. So as you can see, the trade went against me, but I already had a stop loss in play up here, correlating with prior highs, etc. Because you know if it goes up here anyway, it's likely going to spike higher. So why take an extra loss when it's not really necessary? So stop loss placement, very crucial and key lesson to be learnt here. Prior wicks, always keep them just above prior wicks, not from these wicks, but from prior wicks before, because if these wicks get annihilated, they may still fail to actually achieve where the prior wicks once were. So your risk management must be in line, your lot sizes, etc. must be calculated. Now, when I saw that price reversed to this region, using the same theory that I used with BTC, it was realistic that if price broke out, there was going to be a stop hunt, because we saw a dramatic pullback, we saw a sharp downside break. So I did see this movement here, and it started to tease that there are bears trying to break lower. But at the same time, that huge bullish candle was a concern. When price stabilized around here, prior level, let's go to the 15-minute chart and really weave into that movement. You could see after around this level here, we just rejected again and again and again. Saw a final spike. I thought, that's it. I am getting in, and I entered a precise entry. Going over to the 1 hour or the 4 hour or the daily, you can see that absolute precision on such a level. Going to the 4 hour, absolute precision. This has now tapped. I really wouldn't be surprised if this just absolutely dies towards my target. Let's just get the 4 hour up here as well. And again, what is unfolding on this 4 hour time frame of ours? So I think there's a nice trend line as well. That gets broken, probably see a rejection. All I'll do, trend line retest, enter again, add another position, move these stop losses to break even, and roll over. Let's make it 30k instead of 20k. Going over to another entry that was pretty good as well. Gold is looking great. Again, I shouldn't be covering too much FX. I have many good friends. Well, I have a good friend in the industry doing that already. But looking at this now, another precise entry just to give you an insight into how I am really optimizing those entries. And this is all going to be in the Wizard platform as well, because I am just going for those kill shots, those absolute bullseyes right now. So very simple stuff, guys. If I go back to BTC, you can see one lot running here, absolutely perfect. XRP, absolutely perfect as well on the 4 hour, just off that rejection. Not as optimal as the others, but still just as good. Stop loss in profit for this one, but we'll get to that in a second. So why did I enter 5 lots short on this upon a spike? Very simple stuff. The key analysis I'm teaching you all in every single video. Simple trend line, we tapped over, lower high, of course the high, 1, 2, 3, trend lines, spikes galore, manipulation galore. I believe this is just a very simple trick to spike. I awaited this region to be tapped, because many people would look at the 15-minute, the 30-minute, and they would see this huge candle here, for example, or there, and they would enter short. Or they would see this huge movement there and enter short. But no, price is very likely going to retest many times over a specific region before actually moving. And this is where patience comes into play. It's very easy to jump the gun. And as a trader, I'll be honest with you, you will always have those moments where you have losing streaks. You'll jump the gun. You'll make mistakes. You will fail. This is all part of trading. You will never be able to fully overcome this. It will always occur. But if you increase the odds and the actual amount of times you do not do this, you will be far more successful as a trader. So with me, a good example is BTC on BitMEX. I completely jumped the gun on that. I saw a potential movement. It broke out, and then I just waited. Again, it saw it moving up higher. The first thing I tweeted, which is actually too long to find right now. First thing I tweeted was, I'm not going to enter yet as I have just already lost, blah, 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 in line with my risk management. However, I do believe there is going to be a spike, a potential stop hunt to $5,650. Now, when that level met, that's it, I'm in, because I've preempted this level. So what I'm going to do with this stop loss actually, because it's a bit, let's just drag that to around there in the worst case scenario. And again, it's breaking out right now, as you can see, profit's moving nice. Let's go over to XRP. How's that looking? That's stalling a little bit. So because XRP is in a little bit more profit and it's moved a bit lower, I can afford to kind of put this into break even. So this is that whole theory I tell you about. This is why even if a trade reverses against me, I'm never truly losing, because I'm never letting the losses actually unfold. My losses are usually very minimal in comparison to my wins. So we're looking at these. I'll give you a little calculation of everything that's unfolding on my trading platform right now. What do we have running? So US 30, you've seen that. We are targeting around 20k. Should we see that break? If I had another position, then we are really going for the kill on that one. For gold, very simple stuff. I'm just literally shorting this. It looks like this candle could just snap. Very simple stuff, tapping these prior regions here. What are we looking at for this? We're looking at around 6k. Going over to XRP, we're looking at around $3,200. Again, very sharp move down to this level. But here's what we're going to do now. In anticipation of what could potentially be a much sharper move. So we saw that it could on, there we go, breaking out. Thank you, Bitcoin. Always good to see on a Wednesday evening. What do we have here? 26 and 24. Here's what I'm going to do in the event that the extraordinary and the unknown happens. Let's just, not bad. Could be better, but I'm more than happy to leave that. Leave it at 27 for now. I don't want to get greedy. And as for BTC, that is currently at 5,200 anyway, so it correlates quite nicely. So 4,300, and of course this down here at potentially around $5,200. So how am I getting these entries? Well, guys, look at the precision on this one. You preempt these levels. It's very simple stuff. I tapped, I saw the spike, I tapped, and you have to buy when people are very scared to buy, or you have to sell when people are very scared to sell, because when you're seeing these candles pushing up higher, the bulls are looking at this, and the people who do not have too much experience, if I actually go to the 5-minute chart or the 1-minute chart, I know this sounds insane, but let me just go, where is my entry? There we go. Although I would never obviously use this is just insane. If you just look at how many people are seeing these attempts here and they're just trying to break out, you see a breakout, you buy. No, because it's just looking too easy, because every single person is trying to buy those spikes over there. And when you see that fear, obviously this doesn't work every time. You need to preempt these levels, and you need to understand basics of support and resistance and monthly key levels, etc. But I saw this level, as I said, I covered it on Twitter, I preempted. So if it taps my level, I'm going to enter at the peak of that movement. Instead of waiting for a potential pullback and all of this movement here, you enter at the peak of the wicks, or you await the first wick to close, you await the second spike, and then you enter from these wicks here, which still would be an incredibly optimal entry. For me, I used a horizontal line. I saw where this was all unfolding over here, so all I simply done was just move this over here and just waited for it to be tapped, which is exactly where the entry occurred. However, normally in this scenario, because I was confident of this position unfolding, I took the entry. However, I would normally wait for something like this, just like I have on gold as a great example. Let's see what that looks like on the 15. Yeah, stabilizing a little bit, but it's all about holding. So just waiting for this to break down to this region here, and all I'll do is move that into profit. As for US30, this needs to break out a little bit more for me to start doing that. XRP, because crypto is much more volatile than the other assets I'm showing that I'm trading, I always like to secure those stop losses straight away. Because in the worst case scenario, guys, this spikes up to here one more time. Nice correlation with the body and the wicks. I'll just close out in profit, very small, but it's still a win. I will still be closing out to at least cover the spreads or the swaps. So fortunately right now, there are no real commissions or fees to worry about. It's nothing significant. However, when you're trading stuff like the yen pairs, or you're trading Bitcoin for too long, or XRP, those swaps and commissions can really get hefty. So here's what's happening now. What am I doing? I've just completely lost my tracking. So going back to Bitcoin. With Bitcoin, because there is a potential threat and I've got such a good entry, I'm more than happy to just leave this. I really don't want to be risking closing a trade in a break even just to potentially get a slight increment higher. When you get those optimal entries, that's when you can afford as well. This is why it's so important to be getting those entries as precise as you physically can. And it will not always happen, and do not kind of fool yourself into believing it's possible, but when you start optimizing those entries, you're less worried about your stop loss because you've gotten one of the best prices possible to get in at. Whereas XRP, I could optimize that a little bit more if I really wanted to. So in the worst case scenario, let's just say, again, preempting prior levels as well, dropping that down to there. Let's just say price spikes from here to there. I've drawn this level in advance. If I see price just blow straight to this level, I am tapping the sell button exactly there. Tap, bang, boom, falls straight towards my target. And that's just overall what I'm doing. I am making sure, this is why I'm telling you, I've been really working on those manipulative regions to cover, because that is why I'm managing to catch many of these breakouts, because I am trying to understand in advance that before price continues in a certain direction, market manipulators have a simple goal to make sure you are not making money, because every time you lose, they win. You have to remember, in this game and in this industry of finance, whether that's forex, stocks, crypto, or wheat, or cotton, or cattle, whatever it is you're trading, for every loser there is a winner. For every winner there is a loser. So you have to realize the more you lose, the more the institutions and banks win. So I hope this has been an educational lesson and just showing you a bit more of an insight into the live trades, some of the positions that are running, and how I'm actually trying to really weave in those precise movements. So I'm capturing a lot of this stuff for the Wizard platform launch as well, which I will slowly be releasing over time as well. A whole variety of different trade setups and live trades alongside just analysis and stuff as well. So I'm building an overall structure, and I'm giving you guys the ability from now for free to literally just get on board and copy absolutely everything I'm doing. I have no shame or I have no fear in revealing like the majority of my secrets. I'm not going to pull all of the cards on the table, but I have no issue just giving you guys little tips and tricks that other people are too scared to reveal because they want to just get money for it. I have no fear in just giving away tips. The goal here is to help people. That is the whole purpose of the Wizard platform. So when you guys are asking me questions, there's a reason I go on Twitter and ask you, what do you want to learn? Because the goal here is to educate people, and I'm more than happy to do that for free, whilst other people will charge quite a lot of money to do so. So that is it in a nutshell. Nice little analysis for you all, and just to cover the potential upside risks as well. Maybe we'll make this a more reoccurring theme for the Wizard Wednesdays, where it's a breakdown, a little bit of an insight into the live side as well, and you can just see what's really unfolding in real time. So just to cover, if we do obviously start breaking out from beyond 5,650, this will be invalidated if it closes above. So I would be a bit cautious anywhere up to 5,7. Just to cover of course the opposing side, should we start breaking away from these wicks here around 0.327, then again, this is pretty much just going straight up to here. But do be cautious, because there is, of course, the 78.6 fib in what could be a very sharp upside spike before reversing as well. So if my XRP trade is wiped out and it does tap that level I covered before, what's an excellent entry to get in at around these levels? If I entered here, stop loss there. If I entered here, stop loss there, and just watch how much money could potentially be made. As for Ether, same regions, we've actually hit this level already, technically. If I draw this down from body to wick, then we are even better in potential profit. And this could correlate with a spike down to $135, which sounds insane, but realistically, I actually believe all of this can be unfolding. So hopefully as many of you as possible in the Telegram are watching this video, as I would really recommend it, because it's giving you a different bias to the market, where 1 minute people are screaming bullish, 1 minute people are screaming bearish, but overall, we are still long. We are still focusing on a medium-term upside swing. But in the meantime, we need to be focusing on the short-term movements that can be very profitable to capture alongside our journey to the 6K region. So breaking above that level as well, as you know, potential threat to the upside, not too good. And of course, with LTC, just be cautious of any spikes up to around $82 to $85. Anything above that, and we are invalidating and going straight towards 107. But the best thing for me right now is I've been covering this Litecoin trend line for so long. The ladder, the ultimate did I just say period? The ultimate pyramid of the Egyptian Litecoin. So here we have 3 trend lines. Realistically, if price breaks lower, I see this region coming straight into play. And this is something you should all be drawing just in case we see that downside snap. Everyone's trying to long off these huge bullish movements, but I want to once again try and outsmart the market with potentially a very dramatic move. So guys, that is wrapping up the Wizard Wednesdays for this week. I hope it's been very educational and provided more value than the prior, and I'm hoping to continue the streak of providing new and educational content every single week. And to be honest with you, every single day. Now guys, have a great Wednesday. It is my birthday this Sunday, which funnily enough correlates with the podcast. So it should be a very good, cheerful one, maybe covering some life topics. And do you know what? I may actually reveal a bit of an insight into my life overall. Some of the journeys I've been through, the trauma, the wins, the losses, you name it. I will run through a lot of my personal life. I think it's time to reveal a little bit more about myself. So why not reveal that on a special birthday podcast this Sunday? Guys, I will see you in the Telegram very soon.